This is a $10 IM called the Blonde Fat Girl. It's only $10, so let's make this quick. Being $10 inside the box is just the basics. You get the earbuds, they don't detach from the cable. They're just stuck on the cable. And there's the cable. Get your ear tips. There's paperwork. That's about it. As for the earbuds themselves, take $10 earbuds you find in the store, but make them nicely built, because it just feels kind of nice. They'll go in your ear in that kind of way, judging by the design. By design, I guess by price, they decided to not make the cable detachable because they want this, kind of the hanging from your ear kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Alright, as far as fit and comfort is concerned, it's exactly what you'd expect. Just a simple earbud doesn't wrap around your ear. I guess you could if you want to, but the way they are, because they're relatively light, all things considered with their metal build, they sit quite fine. They seal quite okay. I mean, easy peasy, nothing bad. Looks pretty normal, so yeah, all I can say about that, it's good. Now as for the sound, it is warm, which is basically what I was expecting. So boosted lows, boosted highs, but on the bright side, instead of having like recessed mids, there's a slight push in the mid-range to like save that part a little bit, though overall the experience was just okay for quality and whatnot. It wasn't the greatest in the world, but for $10 I guess it's not too bad. At the very low end, there's a lot of bass going on, pretty powerful there, but more of the feel is in the mid rather than the low, so the reach isn't that great into this little low end sub bass, but at least you get a whole lot of punch feel, so bass heads would even be happy, I think. It does get a little bit much at times, and it can't handle it perfectly, so it does get muddy. Wasn't the cleanest bass in the world, and it does bleed into the mids a bit, but at least some of the mids do come back as you go into like the mid to upper mids, where they shined okay. Wasn't the cleanest mids in the world. I do feel like the quality of the sound there could be a little bit better, but considering the $10 mark, I guess it's okay. Moving into the highs, it was okay, I guess. It sometimes got harsh if it went a little too hard, and overall sometimes I think with the mids and highs together, it kind of came off being a little harsh or shouty on occasion. So, not the best control over that section in the world, but for the most part was relatively just okay. Now, as far as soundstage and imaging is concerned, it was average for both. Like, the soundstage, being an IM, is small, but it's okay. It's an average size. Not too crazy big, but at least it's large enough where, like, you can still have some degree of sound separation to use, so things don't feel very, like, constrained and constricted. And the way it went about it for, like, the sound and then, therefore, the imaging was okay. It wasn't 100% precise, but it was decently okay. If you're going to be using these in a competitive shooter game, these aren't really going to be a godsend when it comes to, like, giving you advantages. They'll just do an okay job. They'll track decently, they'll kind of give you a general idea where things are, unless there's elevation, because these things don't have a whole lot of height, unfortunately. But on a flat plane, it does, like, okay, I guess. Though, I will say when things get busy, especially in the bass region, it will be a bit distracting, and it's going to be hard to track for sounds, but I guess that goes for any IEM and headphone at that point. But the stronger the bass, the more difficult it can be at sometimes, especially if there's just a lot going around. So I generally wouldn't use these for, like, competitive situations. I would pick something else at this point. But if you're just here for the immersion and you're here to like just have fun and not really like be super sweaty about it, sure, go ahead. In which case, that then brings us to like non-competitive stuff, in which case I do think these do a great job. They're relatively like immersive. They're not like the best sound quality I've ever heard, but over time I think it was fine when you're playing the game. I do think they're very engaging and exciting because there's a whole lot of bass without like messing up the mids and highs too much, so you get like a good, exciting, in-your-face sound range. So games that are like more like immersive, open world, I think are pretty fun. I don't think they're perfect for them, but they will do a pretty good job for them. Now, if I'm being totally honest, while I do think the Blonde Fat Girls are pretty good for $10, I would still much prefer that you guys save a little bit more to get something within like the $20 to $30 range, because IEMs at the range gets really, really good and are noticeably better than the Fat Girls, which I guess makes sense because they are more expensive. Though, I will mention that there are tons of IEMs within that price range that are also like only just as good as the Fat Girls, if not worse. But with all the gazillions of reviews out there for like IEMs at that range, it's pretty easy to figure out which ones are good and which ones aren't, so there is that. However, I guess if you really can't afford an IEM at the range and you can only afford something that's within the $10 range, the Fat Girls I think would do you just fine, as long as you're looking for like a set of warm IEMs that have a slight mid boost. If I really think about it, I think these are kind of comparable to something like the QKZ VK4s, which sit in a similar price bracket to the Fat Girls, but I would choose the Fat Girls over the VK4s just because the build is better and the sound is comparable, honestly. But with the better build, I just have more confidence in its longevity. It just feels more durable, and I don't have to be like nearly as careful with them because they're not made of plastic. But yeah, if you do want to buy these IEMs, I guess I'll leave a link down in the description, and that's basically all I have for today. So let's keep it quick and keep it short. See you guys later.